So I'm gonna ask our friend here. I'm gonna listen in on this guitar. Let's hear it. I'm gonna give you a good angle.
Circumstantial doubt. Circumstantial doubt. The prisoner had closed his trap, withstood both foul and vicious slap. The prisoner had closed his trap, withstood both foul and vicious slap, but could not bridge the gap between the state and crime. They locked him into Wearmount, expecting him to shortly shout and wipe away their flagrant doubt, all in God's good time. Circumstantial doubt. Circumstantial doubt. They so arranged his numbered cell that others on their way to hell would pause and thus his spirit quell, and justice thus ensure. These are not mechanics of law, but just to make him lose his jaw, and consequently filled with flaw, unworthy, raw, impure. Circumstantial doubt. Circumstantial doubt. No prisoner can win a state as long as state prolongs this play, or sends this silent man away beyond the reach of gloom. And that is why they are filled with hate. This prisoner is not their mate. His very presence seals their fate and sends them to their doom. Circumstantial doubt. Circumstantial doubt. Circumstantial doubt. Circumstantial doubt.
Thank you, brother. That was a great song, man.
Thank you.
I was really feeling that. I almost want to sample your guitar.
Go for it. Yeah. What's the name of that?
That's a song. It's actually a poem that that was written by my great granduncle. It's called "Circumstantial Doubt," and I found it in my parents' house a few years ago. I discovered that we had this relative that nobody in the family seemed to know anything about, but his name was T-Bone Slim. T-Bone Slim, yeah, he was an activist and songwriter and poet and columnist in the labor movement. He wrote for the Industrial Workers of the World, the Wobblies.
What part of the country was that?
He was all over. He was a hobo, so he was all over the country. But he was from Ohio. Yeah, he would be he would absolutely be standing up for what's going. He would be railing against what's going on against Julian Assange right now. Assault on freedom of the press and freedom of speech as well. I think those would be two huge things that he would be disgusted at the current state of affairs in our country, as regards those issues. And he was also somebody clearly that spent some time behind bars and was aware of political persecution and the way that the machine, locks people away and basically breaks them down. So it's I think he would be very much in support of this movement and getting Assange free and being able to do the journalistic work that he needs to do. So that. As T-Bone said, he used to call the headlines headlies. Headlies. It's perhaps more accurate now than ever, Yeah. I mean, you look at some of the headlines about Julian Assange smearing feces on the walls in the embassy and stuff. I mean, it's just, you can't trust these bought and paid for media institutions that they represent the interests that pay for them. That's who they represent. They're not there to serve the public good, unless it just so happens to coincide with the corporate narrative. Exactly. Yeah, which doesn't often happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much, brother. What's your name?
My name is John Westmoreland. Yeah, Westmoreland.
Westmoreland?
Yeah, Westmoreland.
Like the general?
Like the general.
Circle up here in
That's
DC?
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have like a YouTube or are you on Twitter or Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah, I have. I'm on Twitter, Westmoreland_music, and my website is johnwestmorelandmusic.com. I have a Twitter account that I don't have too many followers on there. But that's how I found out about this. Is I've been following a lot of the good folks here that have been posting so much on Twitter. So, but that account is T-Bone Slim. Is it T_bone_slim? I think that's it.
You know what the profile picture looks like?
It's the profile picture is a cartoon of T-Bone Slim, where it's basically a guy kind of with a receding, kind of a widow's peak, with devil horns starting to grow out of his head, holding on to a bloody T-bone steak.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we'll definitely be able to find you. And was that song recorded anywhere? Or?
It's on an album that I'm putting out soon. This is going to be, as far as I know, the only album that's a collection of T-Bone Slim's songs, because he died. He was found drowned in the East River of Manhattan in 1942, right after the U.S. entry into World War II, which he was very much against. He said all wars are bosses' wars and all this, but basically he was pretty soon forgotten after that. I think it's really been a kind of a tragic thing because he did a whole lot for the labor movement and was really just a hilarious writer in general too. Like he would use humor, to talk about the really dark truths going on in the world. But yeah, he's been largely forgotten and not studied. I hope there's going to be a reemerging of awareness of him. I mean, in my own family, until a few years ago, until I found these papers at my parents' house that were some of his handwritten manuscripts, no one in his family knew who he was either. He was totally forgotten. But those radical, that's what happens. You put people, these radical figures, they're dangerous, and they're deliberately by the state, suppressed and tried to be put down the memory hole. And it's traumatic for family members too, I think, look for Julian Assange. Look how this affects his family, when you're really standing up against the machine, it's dangerous. And I think, unfortunately, during the 20th century, say during the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, there was a lot of families that, either just kind of pushed those folks aside or it just didn't feel safe to talk about them. And, they're just one way or another, they get kind of left by the wayside. But yeah, so I'll have an album of his coming out soon called Resurrection. Yeah, which is another one of his songs. So hopefully that'll be out there sometime soon, and I'd love for people to listen to it.
Yeah, I'm excited, dude. I'm going to be waiting because I really like that one. What's the name of that song that you just played?
That song is called Circumstantial Doubt. Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll be looking out for that one and the rest of the album.
Awesome.
And we'll bring back T-Bone Slim's his legacy.
I would love that. I hope so.
Thank you, brother.